Communication is key. Should be obvious, but you really have to talk about your feelings.
And for some of us, we're not good at that.
Yeah, I'm not at all talking to my co-host. I'm talking to all the men out there and my co-host.
Okay.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
What have you been up to, young lady?
I've been flipping around in a hoop.
Oh, damn. I don't know what that means.
And I'm tired.
Me too, even though I just woke up from a nap that I kept extending. Like, I set it for an hour, so I would have an hour to get ready for the pod. And then it went off, and I was like, 10 more minutes. And then I was like, fuck it, 30 more minutes. And yet I still managed to, like, blow dry my hair and, like, all this stuff. Oh, wait, I want to show you the shirt I'm wearing.
Okay. Nice.
Will you describe to the listeners?
It is a black t-shirt that just says "no thank you" several times in a row.
Yes. That's how I feel about this week.
Fair.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast where we're not tired of you, per se. We're just tired of the world. And I'm Christina.
And I'm Lauren.
I had a better one, and then when it was time to say it, it just disappeared.
For a minute, I really just thought you were going to say the podcast where, no thank you.
The podcast where we're thankful to be podcasting, and we're thankful to have listeners. But that's it. I'm Christina. Did we say our names?
We did.
Fuck. I might be a little stoned.
Okay.
But it is the least harmful coping mechanism.
Absolutely.
That
I would
use.
imagine knowing, yeah.
I'll talk about it. But first, a little teaser for what we're going to talk about today. Lauren, since you chose the original topic, do you want to give a little rundown and say what the question was?
So a couple weeks ago, I had chosen our topic, and it was the topic of relationships, particularly focusing on like romantic partnering type relationships and how your mental health may have affected them, how they may have affected your mental health, how you deal with the partner's mental health, just anything.
Exactly. And we shared some personal stories. I've no doubt we'll share more today.
Mm-hmm.
But the question that we asked at the end of that episode was, how has mental health affected your relationships? And has your oh my God. And has your and has your partner's mental health ever affected yours? Basically what you just said.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to share your answers after we give a little personal update.
Sure. My favorite part.
Lauren.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Oh,
I decided to switch it up.
Well, I am very grateful for the long weekend. I think I was definitely getting close to some major burnout. So,
I could tell.
Yeah. So knowing on Wednesday when I went into work that I was leaving at noon and I was not coming back until Monday, I was like, oh, thank fucking God. I need this so bad.
Yeah. I mean, I remember working in corporate hell, and Thanksgiving weekend was the best because you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And especially like, usually if you have to do anything, you know, people are usually doing it Thursday. So it's like, oh, good. So you get all of the stressful holiday crap out of the way. And then it's just 3 days to sit.
Sit and digest.
Yes.
Let's be real. Sit and hate yourself.
Exactly. Sit and rethink everything that you said the day before. So in the spirit of this topic that we're embarking on, I started to have a sentence and then I forgot it. I'm not high.
You're high on something.
Yeah, the continuing story of whatever this relationship is or what's happening. I don't know. So the guy that I've been out with a couple times, he's in my band. So we talked at band practice about what everyone's doing. So, I mean, they all knew that I was like, oh yeah, I'd invited my mom and she wasn't able to make it. So really, I'm planning to watch the dog show with Pico and eat fancy cheese, which we did all that. It was great. The pug won, by the way. Pug was very cute.
I don't know what dog race you're referring to.
Dog show.
Sorry, I don't know what dog show you're referring to.
I'm not sure if dog races might be ethically okay. That's why.
Well, no, they have like the little play races at the Olympics and stuff, like the puppy Olympic. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know which one it was. I just realized a couple days before, I was like, aren't there usually like major dog shows on holidays?
No, I think you're the only one, Lauren. Listeners, do you watch dog shows on Thanksgiving weekend as a tradition?
I'm not saying do you watch them, but are you aware that it happens? Or that it happens on some major holidays? Or
is this just another instance of me being homeschooled?
I don't know, because I feel like
being younger.
That could be. So I was going to say, I feel like I only became aware of this maybe like 10 years ago. So I'm like, you would have been out of homeschooling by then. But maybe, yeah, it's because I was entering my 30s and that's what old people do.
Well, you're talking about like formal dog shows like AKC.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was a dog obsessed child. Like I would have watched the dog show on Thanksgiving if I had been aware.
Well, I think we're talking way too much about dog show.
I know a few listeners that are absolutely going to fast forward this.
That's totally fine. Okay, there was a dog show. I'm going to not talk about this anymore.
And I'm not even a dog person.
I know.
That's the ironic thing.
So the other thing that happened yesterday is, so because all of like the band members knew that I wasn't doing anything and I started seeing the guy in the band, then he mentioned a few days before, he's like, totally understand if this is awkward and, you don't have to feel like you have to say yes, but I know, sometimes it can suck not to have anything to do on Thanksgiving. My family's all going to be here. You can stop by or not.
Oh my God. Okay, low key, when you said you were with his parents, I kind of put on the brakes real fast in my mind. I was like, wait, what? So I'm really excited to hear the full story.
Yeah, so I thought about it for a couple days and then I was like, you know what? I think I would just go in there and feel really uncomfortable. Not so uncomfortable that I couldn't like go over there at all. I was just like, how about I do my thing in the morning, in the early afternoon. And he said, like some of the people will have had to leave early, but some people will still be around. I was like, I'll stop by then.
Perfect.
Yeah. When everyone's, kind of calm maybe in their food coma and there's only half as many people there. And that I think was a good decision because it actually went pretty well. So he is older than me, but he's also the youngest of 5 kids.
Oh my God. Were they all there?
Only 2 were there when I got there. But so because of that, I mean, it makes sense that his mom is 94 years old. And
Queen.
That was actually the thing I was most nervous about. And mainly because I didn't want it to be awkward, like bringing random new person in there thinking like only one of my grandmas made it to that age. But if both of them had, they would have not had their minds in any way. And that's what I was really thinking would be the awkward part. And, someone going through dementia and Alzheimer's, I'm like, it could be upsetting to them. They're just like managing to maybe like remember family names. And then they're like, who are these people?
That's really considerate of you to even think about.
Well, I mean, it was partly me too, because I would have felt awkward. I was being selfish as well. Don't worry. But actually, she was 94. So I know like she told a couple stories a couple times, but she seemed with it. She remembered my name through the whole time. So I don't know. I think she named all her kids correctly.
Wow.
I could remember all their names.
My parents get our names wrong all the time. I get my cats' names wrong sometimes, like mixed up with each other. Like I can't imagine being 94. She slays so hard.
Yeah, she was pretty cool.
Now, how did drummer... Wait, why do I think he's a drummer? Did you ever say what he does?
So weird, because my mom said this, like I talked to her this morning, and she said the same thing. She's like, oh, so you went to your drummer's house? I was like, bassist.
Oh, okay. Bass is even better.
So I don't know. That's what she said too.
Really?
She was like, "Oh, good. I like bassists."
Bassists are always the sweetest in
That's
my
so
experience
funny.
dating multiple musicians, neither of whom were bassists.
I mean, it's better than a lead guitarist for sure. Don't date
Oh,
them.
yeah, that was my first boyfriend.
Yeah, bad
Ugh.
idea.
Maybe we'll talk about that later. But for now, we're talking about where you're at. Oh, wait, sorry. So you're bassist. How did he introduce you? As the girl in my band? As my friend? As my date? Like,
no, just introduced me by name.
okay.
You know?
Respectful.
Yep.
Non-juicy.
Right.
No, that's it.
That's it. There's not much else to say there, I don't think.
Oh my God. But like, how did you feel?
I was getting to that.
Oh, I thought you were done.
Oh.
Because you just...
No, because I knew you need that part to feel satisfied. So
I'll shut up now.
I love you.
I love you too, but I want to hear about your feelings.
Like I said, I just kind of like feel exhausted after the day.
Well, yeah.
I might still need more time to process.
Fair.
I'm sure there are feelings. As much as I like to pretend like I don't, I do have them. I mean, there was definitely some relief after I'd been there for an hour or so. And like I said, you know, it was like his mom seemed cool. One of his brother's wives was sitting at the table, and she was just like really awesome and really friendly. So I was like, oh, good. There's a, you know, I mean, an in-law family member that I can connect with. I like this.
I thought you were going to say a female family member that I can connect with.
I'm going to say that more often just to bug you.
I don't mind it when it's a descriptor. I mind it when it's a noun.
But anyway, I don't know how much I have to say about how I feel because, like I said, I think I need to decompress for a bit and then think about it.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's absolutely fine. I mean, I can segue off that story by kind of going into where I'm at. Yesterday, I hung out with my brother most of the day, who is visiting from Baltimore, where he and his wife just bought a new house. This is the brother that is 18 months younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, he's been on the podcast before, way, way back when. And his wife has been on too, Abby. Love them.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we spent the whole day together yesterday. It was really nice. We were put in charge of making this dish for our family gathering. And so I made it in the tiny kitchen while he did the dishes, and we played piano. And it's crazy. While we were playing the piano, I say piano in air quotes because it's a keyboard, my piano teacher called from high school.
Yeah, you've talked about her a few times.
And guess who else she had as her student?
Who?
My brother.
Oh, I thought you were going to like suddenly tell me someone famous or something.
Oh, no. I mean, one day we'll both be famous.
Right?
But yeah, I kind of put him on the spot. She was like, oh, how is Andrew? And I was like, well, he's sitting right here.
Would you like to talk to him?
Yeah,
that's
but
funny.
like... the conversation kind of took off from there. We were all just like making jokes and laughing in my living room. And then she was offering him like virtual piano lessons because he said, I want to get back into it. And it was just so cool. I just thought we needed more heartwarming stories on this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, my youngest sister, E, hosted the dinner this year. Her boyfriend's family was there too, along with our family. So it wasn't just our family. So I feel like there was less... You'd think there'd be more pressure with more people, but it felt like less pressure.
Yeah, sometimes like it takes more of the focus off you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that.
And they have a giant backyard with a fire pit. So like I was out there most of the time. And
yeah, I just saw a bunch of your pictures before I came on.
A couch was burned.
Yeah.
It was really epic. The couch had been previously destroyed by their dog.
I figured they didn't just say like, let's burn a couch.
Yeah, I thought I had to clarify. Not that anyone gives a shit. The food part was rough. I knew it would be. I have been coping with bulimia lately. I wrote about it on my Substack and got reported this morning by Instagram again for reposting a link to that. It was the one where you log in and it's like, someone's concerned.
I don't know. I've never gotten any of those.
Well, I guess you got to post more triggering stuff.
I was going to say, probably because I keep all that stuff to myself.
Speaking of which, y'all, we have a pickle pull up right now about triggers. You have 1 week to answer it.
Yep.
All that to say, Thanksgiving dinner or any sort of family dinner is always triggering. But, you know, they made sure I had some vegan dishes and it was really nice.
Yeah.
I feel like all the nice moments are simultaneously being overshadowed by the not so nice moments internally. And that's how most holidays have gone in the past. And it's really frustrating to me in my 30s that it's still happening. Like, that's the only way I have of keeping track of holidays is like, how was my eating disorder at the time? Like, what was I eating? What was I not eating? Which bathroom was I throwing up in?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you have anything like that?
Absolutely. I was like, that sounds very familiar. There's so many things like, I'm not like this is original for someone with an eating disorder, but I feel like maybe even more than other people, like I have a huge scale obsession.
Mm,
And so there's like a lot of things in my past that I can think of, like even, a good night that I had with friends. Like this was something where we did like something crazy and, like it was super fun. And I also remember like the weight to the decimal point that I was that day.
yeah, that's so real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember movies that I watched with people I loved, but I remember what I ate in the movie theater.
Yeah. And I get that too, like what you were saying, where it's like, not that there aren't good moments in there, but it's just kind of like the good and the bad are just kind of battling it out and you remember both.
I mean, I think there are things we can do to draw the focus more to other things.
And with that conversation, I will also add yesterday, it didn't go past me unnoticed that it probably was a whole different experience going over to his place because I, went over later. I went over
Mhm.
after dinner. I didn't have to have all of that warring stuff going on in my head because it certainly would have.
That's really
And
smart, actually.
yeah, I mean, that's
It's like
actually what I was.
shopping, eating before you go shopping.
Yes. I was saying, that actually was how I was thinking of it when I came home and realizing like, oh, everything was pretty nice. And I was like, yeah, also, I didn't have to eat a thing over there. That probably would have ruined some of it.
I mean, it's a sad truth for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I have more to say about like family and relationships, but that'll tie in to our conversation
Okay,
later.
that makes sense.
Because, I mean, I know we're strictly talking romantic relationships,
Mm-hmm.
but I did kind of want to touch on like some of this stuff bleeds over into other relationships as well.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a few comments in response to this question. Thank you, everyone. We also got a voicemail from Jess, which I will play now.
This reminds me so much of episode 171, where you guys talked about overthinking your mental health and like how much awareness is too much. And I think it reminds me of that because at one point in my life when I was married, I was in the worst part of my eating disorder in an extremely, extremely heavy depression. I attempted suicide. I was just doing anything and everything to wreck my body, and it was bad. But I also was just starting to try to get help, and I didn't even know what that looked like for me, let alone to be able to tell my partner how I needed them to show up in the midst of their alcohol abuse. And looking back now, I can see how controlling and possessive they were with no insight of their own stuff. So how am I supposed to say, here's what I need from you, when I can't even say that I know what I need? I also think that, looking now in my current relationship, I showed up in the first month of us seeing each other and was like, hey, here's the stuff I've been through. I struggle with these things. I have PTSD. I've been in an abusive relationship. I've been sexually assaulted more than once. And these things resurface for me, and they're going to from time to time, and sometimes in ways that I've never experienced before. And here's what you can do to help support me in that. And there's absolutely been times where I have come to my partner and said, I'm not doing well, and I'm seriously contemplating stopping at all these intersections. And he's been honest enough with me to say, like, I don't really know what to do with that. And I know enough now to say, I just need you to sit next to me on the couch, hold my hand while we watch stupid TV, or I need to go for a walk. I just need to be here with you, whatever that looks like. I need a hug, whatever that is in that moment. But I also can self-advocate now. And I too have had situations where I have gone on the very first date and thought, I'm just going to be open and honest about everything right up front and just weed out the terrible. And you know what? Like, I was open and honest, and I talked to this dude about my suicide attempt on our first date. In hindsight, that was not a great idea, but I did it, and he made me feel like everything was okay. And made me feel like he appreciated that so much in ways that I opened up to him. And now that I reflect back and think, that was one I could have done without, because ultimately he ghosted me the next day. And so I think that there are times where our mental health can get in the way, but I also think that maybe just means they're not your person. And it's caused some really fucked up situations for me, but ultimately it's gotten me to where I am now, and I know how to advocate for myself. And I think that that's a big part of how your mental health shows up in your relationship.
Girl.
Yeah.
I have so much to say about this lovely voicemail. What are your thoughts?
I mean, my favorite thing is how her journey dealing with mental health with different partners has brought her to a place where she knows what she needs. Because I just think that's the best thing that you can do. You know, I loved it when she was saying, like, because, yeah, I've been in the situation, too, where I've been falling apart and I share how I feel like I'm falling apart and just scare the other person. But if you can tell them, like, literally, I just need you to sit on the couch with me. I don't need you to swoop in and be my savior. I just need you to be here.
Yes. I really like also how the guy, I forget if it was her husband or someone else, was like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, that's also important. If you are on the other side of that and your partner tells you something they're dealing with and you don't know, you need to tell them that you don't know. Because if you pretend, like, that's not going to be adequate support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, kudos to anyone who can be honest and say, I don't know how to help you right now, but if you tell me, I'll do my best. What are some like concrete things you can ask partners for when you're going through something like that?
I had to, in the past, basically, I have trouble sharing any of this stuff with people in general, but especially at this time, it was like in my 20s, and, you know, my family were completely out of the loop and knew nothing. And I was in a really bad spot where I, especially like with depression, where I was just kind of like, I don't feel safe a lot of the time, and also had zero money and didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was similar. Like the partner was scared and he was kind of like, what can I do? And I was just like, I feel like I need to ask my parents for help, but I just don't feel like I can do it. So he called my mom for me.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. When people make phone calls for me, especially asking for stuff, oh my God. I'm like getting hot in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still had to talk to my mom and it was really like uncomfortable for me and everything, but I just needed, you know, like you have to get the ball rolling.
I mean, the word that comes to mind is labor. Maybe for them it's not labor, but for me it is. It's
right.
like splitting the chores according to who likes what.
Yeah.
The most and the least. Like my roommate and I kind of do that now. And you know, I've been in relationships where we did that and it always works out well. I forget where I was going with that. But yeah, concrete ideas. Let people know what really helps. And don't feel like you have to, like for me, I always feel like that's so much to ask for. Like just to sit with me and watch TV, like that's such a huge use of their time. Like, because for me, time is very precious. And so I feel guilty for taking up other people's time. But you have to consider that those are things that maybe other people can provide with more ease than you, and or they want to legitimately.
Yeah, because
You know?
like if it is a person who cares about you, you know, they want to do something concrete that can help. And even if that is still letting them do something, saying this will help me.
Exactly. People aren't mind readers.
Yeah, I know. I have to remind myself that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's also hard to know what helps sometimes. And that's why I think it's a good idea if you can tell them in advance, like when the crisis isn't happening. Like, I love that Jess said that she gave kind of a resurface warning, is what I wrote in my notes. Like, these things are going to resurface.
I like that term.
Right?
Yeah. Because I was thinking the same thing. I like that, you know, she said, like, these are things I've dealt with and they're probably going to come back. I might even not know the method that they come back through.
Yes.
That's how it happens.
That's so true. Because of course, you're not going to meet someone ostensibly. You're not going to get with someone when you're doing terribly.
Yeah,
you know?
I wouldn't be like, so I'm going into eating disorder treatment on a date.
I got a pass for this date, actually.
Yeah. I'm in a hospital after a suicide attempt. Do you want to go out?
I feel like there's rom-coms where that literally happens.
Probably.
Oh my God. Oh, the fetishization of mental illness and manic pixie dream girls.
Yep.
Whew. Hold on. I need to cough. I'm trying to be better about muting myself when something loud happens. But yeah, that's always a risk to tell someone, hey, I have this in my history and there's a good chance it will flare up.
I think about the person that she said ghosted her, and that's what I feel like. I've come across people in my life that what probably happened is, you're having the conversation and yeah, they're like grateful that you're open and appreciating that. And then they go home and think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which they should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, clearly that person did not think they could handle her. So I guess they did the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, the ghosting isn't great. Well, that's the thing. Our society doesn't teach people, especially, men, to have these kind of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he ghosted. I've talked on that episode about a guy that did a similar thing to me. And not to give them an excuse, or anyone an excuse for that matter, but it makes sense to me that they wouldn't know how to be like, hey, I don't know if you're my person.
Right.
In a nutshell, because I don't jive with this stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You don't need a reason to stop seeing someone.
No, it would be nice if you don't ghost them and you actually say something.
Yeah, easier said than done.
But you're right. Like, I know that's not easy, but yeah.
Most of my situationships have just kind of like fizzled out. Like,
Same.
No one says anything.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, anything else to say about Jess's voicemail?
I think I got it out.
That was great. You always give really good voicemails, Jess.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to the comments.
All right.
So, would you like to read the first one?
All right. An important mental health thing I was not aware at the time was that while I thrived on travel, my partner did not. We were both introverts, so I didn't think about it much. My partner would shut down and act more down than usual during our vacations. In turn, it ruined mine typically. I recharged by seeing new environments, but knowing they were not having a good time, general unresponsiveness, made it way worse and drained me. I didn't have the knowledge to communicate it all at the time. On the positive flip side, they had a lot of insight into mental health from their own struggles that had not crossed my mind. They would start conversations that were in the back of my mind, for example, that did not make it to the conscious mind. So on that front, it helped our relationship because there were a lot of obvious life things that were not obvious to me at all. I like this one because it gave both a positive and negative.
Exactly. It's almost like life isn't black and white.
Right?
Crazy.
And I liked the first part because that's valid, that you've developed your own self. They said, like, I recharge by traveling. Like, I love seeing new things and new places. And when you have someone that is clearly not enjoying themselves with you, that's going to affect you and it's going to kind of like ruin your way of recharging.
I've definitely been in that situation.
Me too. That's why it was so familiar. That's why I was like, oh, I get this one.
Yeah. I'm always so worried about other people that I'm traveling with or even just hanging out with.
Yeah. So even just like at somebody's house. And I'm like, sorry, am I making everyone uncomfortable?
And I gotta say, like, being single and doing things alone is really nice because I don't have to worry about whether the other person's having a good time. And sadly, like, I wish I could just do what I want with other people, but at this point, it is almost healthier for me to do stuff alone sometimes.
To be fair, thinking about this, the toxic ex-boyfriend, who I'm sure I mentioned some in our relationship episode, he probably kind of really ruined that for me as well, because that was one of his big reasons, like, why we weren't going to work out and why he broke up with me, because he was like, my friends don't invite me places because you might be there and that makes him uncomfortable.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. He told me terrible things, especially because that wasn't even true. Like, that I could tell.
I know you. I don't think that was true.
Well, no, and I still like talked to some of his friends after the breakup.
Oh my God, wait, I have friends like that too.
Yeah, we stayed friends. I was like, I don't know, maybe, like one person that we hung out with said that to you, but from what I can tell, overall, your friends were fine.
That's so infuriating.
But then he told me that multiple times, so of course I'm always like paranoid about that now, that it's like, oh, I'm making everybody uncomfortable because I'm not having a good time. I better fake it or leave.
Oh my God. My ex-boyfriend used to tell me that, like, I probably would be bored around him and his friends, or like we wouldn't have much in common. And now I find myself kind of bored in large groups of people and just assuming that I don't have anything in common with any of them. Wow.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy, because people tell you what you are.
I also get what they said about them both being introverts. Like, that's a tough one, too. I know we kind of touched last time about when your partner also has mental health issues. That doesn't just apply to, like, big traumas. It could be just, like, personalities that clash or energy levels, if you believe in that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like communication is key. That's should be obvious, but you really have to talk about your feelings.
And for some of us, we're not good at that.
Yeah, I'm not at all talking to my co-host. I'm talking to all the men out there and my co-host.
Okay.
Well, and not to generalize, I have kept my feeling, like I keep my discomfort to myself when traveling with any group of people usually.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, this has nothing to do with romantic relationships, but when I was a kid and I would go camping, there was a night that I woke up in the middle of the night with a nosebleed. I used to get really bad nosebleeds as a kid. Like, I had to get my nostrils cauterized one time.
Oh, wow.
And I was too nervous to wake up my counselor. So I just took this pink bandana that I was wearing and I stuffed it into my nostril and I lay on my back and I went to sleep. And when I woke up the next morning, the bandana was just ruined. It was crusted in blood. And also the blood had been running down my throat all night. So my throat was sore. I could barely speak. I still remember it very clearly. And then I didn't learn my lesson because several years later, I was at the camp they had for teenagers. I started my period and all they had were tampons.
Oh, God, no.
I didn't know how to, this is kind of graphic, sorry, but I didn't know how to put it in.
Oh, that's fine. I was scared to use one until I was like 18.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I didn't ask anyone. I put it in, like, I left the plastic part in. We went whitewater rafting, and it popped out. Ooh,
the story is funny, but I feel your pain as well so much.
I mean, I can laugh about it now, but the point is, you need to communicate your discomfort. Yeah. And if they really care about you, like, if someone's your partner, that's kind of like being your camp counselor. Like, you're kind of obligated.
Yeah. I was like, the counselors were there to watch out for you. So yeah, you should have told them.
I mean, that's like the very definition of a partner is like someone who looks out for you and presumably shares the burdens of life.
Yes.
And yet I feel like with mental health, it's always very unequal.
That reminds me, I have a cute story.
Please. We need a cute story now.
So, back to the guy that I've started dating. It came out on our first date. We were telling stories about like surgeries and breaking bones and things like that. And of course, all of my injury or illness stories are like, and then I ignored it hoping that it would go away. So it's like, I'm seeing a pattern here. Yeah. But so then later, I sent him a little video of one of the aerial tricks I was doing, and he says something like, wow, that looks like it would break a rib. And I was like, I know what that feels like, because I told him the story about breaking ribs. And I was like, but I wouldn't know it for 4 more days. And he was like, I'm not going to let you do that next time. And I was like, oh, you're looking out for me.
Wait, that's the time that you blacked out, right?
Well, I didn't tell that part of the story.
Okay, I was like, man, that's a really vulnerable story that you've told on your mental health podcast, but I can't see you telling that whole story to someone.
On a first date?
Yeah, it's just not you.
It's more like 5th date material.
I mean, if he's lucky.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another comment.
All right.
So this person says, relationship stuff has been a major catalyst for me figuring out my trauma and issues with connection because it was what made me realize how much of a problem it was. And they preface this by saying, even though they call it a situationship, it's a relationship because they've been together for like 5 or 6 years on and off. I couldn't have conversations with people about anything, or I'd freeze up and cry, and realizing how limiting that was made me kind of be like, damn, I need to deal with this. And they pushed me to do it too. Like I did IOP, then PHP and IOP, and then finding different therapists that worked with me. But I finally found one I really like who diagnosed me with CPTSD, which makes a lot of sense, but damn. So they had issues in their relationships, but they didn't realize it was traumatizing them until therapy.
Yeah. And it sounds like all of that coming up in their relationship and having to deal with that kind of opened their eyes to the fact, like, this is actually how I have trouble dealing with everything.
Oh my God. I have this uneasy feeling like we're going to share some really uncomfortable stories. Because I feel like we've both done that where like there's something that you just consider part of your personality, but really it's because someone fucked you up emotionally when you were young and you didn't know the red flags.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of a good example because I know I have some.
I mean, yeah, mine are kind of sexual in nature. Well, I grew up in purity culture, and so I already was in the mindset of like the man is to be served by the woman. Like his needs are more important than your needs. And then the first boy that I was in a relationship with, like, you know, he believed in blue balls and like all that stuff. And he, you know, didn't like going down on me and would be like disgusted, like visibly disgusted. I might cut this out. This is really like...
That's okay. The example that I am forming is a little graphic as well.
Who are we? Oh my God, I'm like blushing.
Is this the sex episode?
The sex-isode part 2?
Right.
I mean, we didn't talk about sex last time, but that's a big part of all this, right? Like,
yeah.
We might as well.
That is a really good example for like what was talked about in this comment. At least, yeah, sounds like for you and for me. I was thinking, and I mean, I guess maybe this is me achieving some sort of, I don't know, strength in myself, because I know in the beginning, getting into relationships, yeah, that's what I felt like. You were just supposed to do certain things. And I can tell you, I have never gotten 1% of enjoyment out of giving a blowjob. I hate it so much.
Oh my God, thank you
for
saying that.
So much.
So speak your truth.
So I would say, you know, like maybe in the last couple relationships that I've had, I know when it's gotten to, you know, like a sexual point, I've gotten to a point now where I have straight up said that. I'm just like, just so you know, I don't give blowjobs. I think it's disgusting. I'll do other things. You know,
I'm snapping for you.
Yeah. I'm just like, you got to know if that's a deal breaker for you. Well, then I guess we just broke the deal.
That is powerful. And it's like, oh my God.
Because I feel like other ones I just like sat there. I remember like living in fear so much. Like, oh, I hope he never expects it and I hope I can put it off. I just don't do that.
That's something that we're not like, we don't know we're allowed to do. It's like when I came out as queer, or when I started like suspecting that I might be queer, obviously I looked up, you know, stuff about queer sex because I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, is that real sex? It's like, you are allowed to define what sex is and isn't. It's not this like set of actions that get performed every time. Like everyone has a different like menu, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh, menu. I like that.
I think I learned that. I have been to like sex therapy for ex-Christians. Like this is something I'm really working on because it traumatized me. Yeah, it really fucked me up. And all that to say, the commenter is spot on with that. Also, it's making me think of the impact we can have on other people. Like, there's two sides to every story. And I'm sure, like, I've been that person in many people's life that is the reason that they have, like, trauma responses now.
True.
You know, I mean, that sounds really harsh, and I'm sure people will come to my defense. But, like, we're all human.
Yeah, we're all people.
And people are capable of hurting other people. Like, you will hurt people in your lifetime.
You are capable of inadvertently hurting other people. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't even mean like you're a horrible person that wants to make people feel bad, but it's likely you have.
Yeah, sometimes like we are the abusers, as, you know, harsh as that sounds. We're like hurt people.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. But also, you know, you are valid. I think there's one more comment. Did you want to read it?
Yeah, I think there's one at the top. Okay. My anxiety also manifests as relationship anxiety, where I'm constantly being bombarded by incessant thoughts of what if they don't actually love me, and what if they're not the one, et cetera, which is torture in even the healthiest and happiest of relationships.
Oh my God. I'm like having that anxiety now, and I'm not even in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, the like wondering if they're like actually into it, or if they do actually like you, or if they like you as much as you like them. I'm like, that honestly, I feel like sounds like what I've come to accept has probably been the death of a lot of my relationships. Just me never having any confidence in it. Because that's going to wear on a person.
Totally. But you could also argue that there's a reason you didn't have any confidence in it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
Like there's a fine line between trusting your gut and also just like the self-fulfilling prophecy you were talking about.
Like thinking about this is this whole like messed up soup in my mind where it's like, I mean, some of it I can blame on myself because I, you know, would just sit there and like ruminate about it, and it probably would have been better to at least clue the other person in so they know like maybe why I would pull away and be distant at times and things like that. But at the same time, like the whole reason that it's happening is because it's actually happened to me before and it's learned experience. So I'm too hesitant to trust people. So yeah, it's this whole mess of like, just having a brain sucks.
Having a brain really sucks. When you were saying that, I was thinking of relationships where I didn't express the doubt and I just went along with it, hoping my feelings would change. We ended up breaking up. I've been in relationships where I expressed the doubt and scared them off, and we broke up. And then I've been in relationships, my last one, where I expressed the doubt and then he tried debating with me.
Ugh, that's the worst.
And we just went back and forth, like I could change my feelings.
Right.
And in all three of those scenarios, we still broke up. And so that's why now I'm firmly in the camp that like, if they're into you, you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really not any more complicated than that.
Still hard to accept, but you're right.
Well, anxiety disorders are unfortunately still a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like it's that easy. And like I said, I'm single, I'm not dating, so like what the fuck do I know? But yeah, I'm just tired of wasting time on people that don't care about me as much, that I have to question my relationship with them every time I'm hanging out with them. That's exhausting and really bad for your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Oh, God. And also back to purity culture. Like, I think growing up believing that you had a spouse out there that was pre-selected that you would find someday, you're constantly comparing everyone to that imaginary future spouse, asking like, oh, is this the one? Is this the one? And it's just, it's such a mind fuck, and it gets in the way of forming relationships with like people who might be really good candidates, you know?
What I was thinking about with that is how I have come to really hate online dating, which unfortunately is the majority of dating at this point.
Hey, you snagged a man without it.
Well, see, maybe that's why it could work out.
All you got to do, guys, is join a band.
Right.
With 3 members of the opposite sex. So you have a selection.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Or at least 3 members of whatever sex you're interested in.
Yeah.
If you're pansexual, just join a band.
Just join a band. That's our relationship advice.
No, but
online dating sucks, though.
Yeah, and I do feel like in the beginning when I first did it, then it felt like it was kind of the opposite. That it was like people just saw that as like an icebreaker, and it's like, yeah, get to know someone. And I just feel like I've watched the evolution where now it is just kind of like, answer all these questions and take all of these quizzes and prove to me that you are, without a doubt, my 100% soulmate and we don't disagree on anything. Otherwise, I'm going to stop texting you.
Ugh, exactly. It's like you're looking through a catalog.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Remember catalogs, like legit catalogs that came in the mail?
The first thing I thought of is the Christmas wish book. The big like Sears or JCPenney's catalog that came out at Christmas time every year.
That sounds magical.
It was.
How dystopian is that? The Sears wish book. That's right. So magical.
It was seriously, it's like 2 inches thick and it has everything.
Whoa. 2 inches. Tell me more.
It was hot.
No, books are hot. Like catalogs, I would wait by the mailbox to get the American Girl catalog.
Ooh, yes.
Oh my God.
I got that one.
Oh, I miss those. But that's what online dating feels like sometimes.
Yeah. As in, like, I have to look through the entire Sears wish book and pick the best thing in the entire catalog.
Yeah. And when you're queer, it's even harder. Or if, you are asexual, or that's even worse because, like, how do you screen for that on a dating app?
And then you end up usually like hiding what you can because it's like, oh no, that would be a ding against me. They'd see that and be like, nope, she's too weird for me. And it's like, maybe if you gave it a chance, I wouldn't be too weird for you.
That's a great point. I think sometimes the dating apps let you hide how crazy, quote unquote, you are. Like, it would be really easy for me to pretend I didn't have all these mental illnesses.
Right.
And I mean, we've established that I don't pretend, I don't hide anything, and that's sometimes to my detriment. But it would be really easy for me.
But yeah, I feel like that is the dating app world, is it's like, you feel like you should, even if it's something that you feel like, oh, well, when I'm comfortable with my partner, of course I would let them in. But because they're shopping, you can't be like, here's my defects.
It's like you have to find that perfect blend of personal quirks, but like not too crazy. And it doesn't paint a picture of who you are. Like, even though that's what everyone's trying to do, is just paint a picture.
Yeah. Like, I should just put out there, like, don't worry, guys. I am definitely Zooey Deschanel in every movie she's been in.
So those are all the comments. Unless you have anything further to say, I was thinking we could do another palate cleanser.
Yay! Okay.
I think we should do a dating quiz.
Oh, of course.
Together. Let me find one. When in doubt, BuzzFeed. I am putting it in the chat.
Okay.
So this quiz is called, "This quiz can tell you what type of relationship you and your significant other share. Love isn't always easy, except for when it is." And the author of this quiz is the Duck Man.
The Duck Man?
That's the username. And there's a picture of Daffy Duck.
I like ducks.
First question. How much do you and your significant other talk? We talk maybe 6 hours a week or less? Almost never. We just cuddle all day? A lot, and it's mostly joking around with each other? We talk at least 100 hours a week. We've been talking less than usual lately, TBH, and it changes a lot, just depends.
Well, for now, I'd have to say it changes a lot, just depends.
Yeah, I have to say too.
How far away does your partner live? Pretty far, but it's okay because I just make them drive to see me every time we hang out. We live in the same city, and that's all that matters to us. 15 minutes away, but I usually make them stay over at my place or vice versa. We live in the same house apartment. I actually don't know where they live, LMAO. It's a long-distance situation.
That's us. It's a long-distance situation. All right, third question. What do you and your partner have in common? Everything? Eye color, loyalty, hair, same taste in music, or taste in video games? You can't select multiple ones, can you?
Yeah. I mean, we both have hair.
We both do have hair, yes. Loyalty to the podcast.
I was thinking loyalty was the one I was thinking.
You could do hair and I could do loyalty. I mean, we can do opposite answers.
Okay. What's one thing you'd change about your partner? The fact that they won't give me the password to their phone. Nothing. They're absolutely perfect the way they are. They spend too much time with their friends and or family. Nothing. Part of loving someone is acknowledging that they're flawed, but still loving them anyway. They're a little suffocating, to be honest. Their personality. You answer that, you got a problem.
I mean, you are a little suffocating, Laura, and you're just always like dumping your feelings on me.
Yeah.
And telling me how you want to run the podcast.
I say either one of the nothing answers.
I'm selecting one. I won't tell you which one it is.
Okay, me too.
What's something you'd leave? What's something you'd leave your partner, aka co-host, for if they stopped? Stop! I'm trying to read. Oh God! If they stopped being nice to me or making me laugh, if we started to drift apart, but of course we try to fix things first. But hey, it happens sometimes. If they were really rude to people working at stores or restaurants, if I saw that they were still friends with their ex co-host.
That's exactly how I felt it.
A lack of communication or nothing ever.
If they were really rude to people working at stores or restaurants.
I mean, that's the obvious one. But probably, the drifting apart one. Because, like, I would not blame any of us if one of us decided they weren't up for the podcast anymore. Like, we would try to work with it, but, like, hey, it happens sometimes.
I mean, I felt like that was probably the most honest one. It was more fun to say, like, if you were rude to someone in a store.
But also, if you stopped making me laugh, like, sorry, that's a prerequisite for the podcast.
That's also one I considered. All right. If your significant other was sad, how would you cheer them up? I don't know. That's not really my job. I would shower them with affection if they wanted it. I'd ask if I did anything wrong and how I can fix it.
Ooh.
I'd make them some comfort food and let them vent if they wanted to. Eek, I don't know how to handle emotions, so I'd probably panic. Okay, I don't need to read any more answers, but I'd probably just leave them alone until they're happy again.
Okay.
Yep, don't know how to handle emotions.
I would ask if I did anything wrong and how I can fix it. So I always assume people are mad at me.
That's also very you.
Your significant other is working themselves way too hard. What do? Guilt them into spending time with you. I'd surprise them with a little act of kindness, like a gift or something sweet like that. I'd just let them be. If they want to overwork themselves, that's on them. Probably just sit with them and ask what they're doing, even if they seem distracted. If they're busy with work, then I can have more time for myself, which is honestly kind of ideal. Tell them why are you in a relationship? Just kidding.
Right.
Tell them you're concerned that they're working too hard and encourage them to take a break when they can. I mean, that's the only decent one. Well, the gift is kind of nice.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's the person that I wish I was, but I probably couldn't get my shit together, so I'll say the last one.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm always afraid of offending people by giving them advice, and so I usually distract them with stupid, fun shit.
Oh no, your significant other is sick. What do? I honestly don't know if they even want me to take care of them. Give them lots of hugs and never leave their side until they're better. Wait until they're better to hang out with them because you don't really want to deal with any neediness. Make sure they're comfortable and then arrange a visit to a doctor's office. Make them soup and put on a good movie or a TV show. Make them feel guilty for getting sick and putting all this pressure on you.
Yo, this is if this was all mental illness, this is so real.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Your significant other has mental illness. What do? Give them lots of hugs, never leave their side till they're better. I've been that person. Honestly, don't know if they even want me to take care of them. I've been that person.
Oh,
I've
absolutely.
been all these people. It depends on the person. Because some people need different things, like Jess mentioned earlier.
Because the one I was thinking closest to me is wait until they're better to hang out with them, except then it says because you don't want to deal with neediness. And usually for me, it's because I don't want to impose if they don't want me to.
Exactly. I mean, I'm going to pick, I don't know if they want me to take care of them.
Okay.
Because you just have to talk to the person. Be like, do you want me to take care of you? But also they might not know how to answer.
I feel like the closest to mine might actually be the make them soup and put on a good movie or TV show, because that sounds like I'd just do that and be like, get comfortable, I'm leaving.
That's the thing. I do kind of need to be around people when I'm sick, even though I want to do the opposite.
Right.
Second to last question. How well do you think you really know your partner? Bitch, that's why I'm taking this quiz. Not well at all, TBH. Well enough, I suppose. I'm more concerned about whether they know me really well or not. Better than they know themselves. I know them pretty well, but they still surprise me all the time, and I feel like I know every facet of them.
I mean, I know them pretty well, but they still surprise me. Of course.
Me all the time.
Right. Saw that coming for both of us. Okay.
Last question.
Lastly, do you see a future with this person? Yes, and it gives me butterflies. Absolutely. They make me so happy, and I hope to make them just as happy in return. Yes, I never want us to be apart for a single second. Yes, they could never leave me and I could never leave them. If I'm being honest, no, or maybe not. I decay. Absolutely not.
I'm torn between the butterflies and the absolutely, they make me so happy and I hope to make them just as happy in return.
Well, I'm picking the second one that you said.
Okay, I'm going to do the butterflies just to see if...
Oh,
we have the cute relationship. Well, that's what I got.
yes!
Did you see the little confetti that came down from the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Oh, we're cute.
We have the cute relationship. Aw, you and your significant other have such a cute relationship and everyone in your life knows it. Some people may roll their eyes, but I think even they'd admit that they're a little bit jealous of what you have. And there's a picture of Lady and the Tramp eating spaghetti, which I find offensive because we have eating disorders. Do you get the joke?
No, the trigger episode is next week.
Oh, true. That reminds me, before we say goodbye, we have a pickle poll that we need answered in 1 week. And the question is, what triggers you? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it was just like, how do you feel about your triggers?
Yeah. Go check our Instagram. We'll post
Yeah.
it.
Or just, like respond about triggers. You'll get the gist.
Yeah. Or just hit us up regardless because life.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
If you like what you heard, don't forget to tell a friend about our podcast. You can direct them to picklesandvodka.substack.com where they can find our entire archive and also get access to our chat. We're on Instagram at Pickles and Vodka Podcast, Facebook.com/picklesandvodkapodcast, and YouTube.com/@Pickles and Vodka Podcast. My Instagram is at XtinaJumper and Lauren is at LaurenAFH. We'll see you next week.